Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Business, Life, and Other Bollocks. I'm your host, Mike Dunn. Today, I'm joined by a guest who started business at the age of only 15 years old. A man that has worked pretty much in some extraordinary places, now self-employed, running one of the UK's fastest-growing marketing agencies. Ben Bowden joins us. Ben, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm surrounded by Liverpool stuff, which is a bit of a sore point as a mank. But
Oh, mate, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We can't all be perfect. Um, Ben, I'm looking forward to this. There's a couple of things we're going to cover. Obviously, starting a business at 15, getting rejected at Buckingham Palace by Prince Andrew.
yeah,
And there's going to be people that go, oh, hang on a minute.
well,
We need to tune into this one because I've got a lot of questions about sweat, getting sick from burnout, and why the idea of job security in your eyes is complete bollocks.
yeah.
All right. So you said everything bad in life happens for a reason. Yeah. Well, we're going to test that today. So I want to start straight off with not the Prince Andrew thing, because trust me, we're going to need an extra hour for that. I want to start at the 15 years old, because when I was 15, I still wasn't sure, like a lot of people, what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure where I wanted to work, what I wanted to do with myself. In fact, I remember my business studies teacher actually telling me, you carry on the way you are, you're going to end up on the bins. And I thought, fuck you. But then I thought, oh shit, you might actually be right here, because I didn't have a clue. So you're 15, set up your own business. Tell me what that is.
So basically, all like my dad's very well known in the community that we live in, so he volunteers in a lot of different projects. So did my granddad. My granddad was like very well known in our community as well.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone sort of knew that I had an interest in graphic design. I was studying graphic design. So then more and more people started saying, "Oh, well, can you or Ben do a bit of this?"
Mm.
So I started just doing odd bits here and there locally, posting it online, and then people had just sort of come to me through online as well. So yeah, it just started like that really. Obviously,
Mm.
at that age, you are running a business, but you're not running a business to like.
Mm.
I'm not one of these blooming kids online who's making £1 million a year who's 15-year-old or whatever. I'm one of them who's like, I'm making, a couple £100 here and there alongside school or whatever. But at that age, you get, someone pays you £50, you're buzzing with it, aren't you?
My dad was in the building game, and he used to take me to building sites, sweeping up,
Yeah,
just carrying bricks, and I'd be giving like a tenner. I'd be over the fucking moon. I'd be
yeah,
like, get it.
yeah.
So you're 15 years old, so young to look at this, and you set up your own business. You set up your own company, basically, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was it like with your friends worrying about GCSEs? Where was your head space at?
I worried about all that then because I think back when I was 15, I didn't really see it as a business as such.
Mm.
I saw it as, oh, I've got this skill set and people are paying me for this skill set, which I never really initially saw graphic design because it's a creative thing. I never really saw that as, oh, you can make money out of this.
Mm.
It was only once people started paying me to do it. But then I was like, I was still focused on like studies, everything like that. Like that, it wasn't my main focus then. But it definitely planted the seed for what was to come later on because I knew that
Yeah.
I had the capability of doing it.
What was it like socially, though?
So 15, I mean, it didn't impact me as much at 15 as it did when I set up properly full time when I was 21. When I set up properly full time at 21, that's very difficult because obviously I just left university and people are sort of they're living life basically. Everyone wants to go out every weekend. Everyone wants to do all these things, and you're sort of the one who everyone else has left university, joined big companies, and they're going, "This is the route you should go down." And I'm sort of like, "Oh, I've not got any money to do anything this weekend, and I'm living with my parents, and I'm doing all this stuff, which you don't see any immediate reward for." But I think I sort of learned very early on off other people that you do a lot of the stuff without immediate reward.
Mm.
Because the thing is, right, is most of those people who I'm comparing myself to at that age, they start quicker, but then they plateau quicker.
Is there anyone in particular you used to compare yourself to?
Just friends.
Oh right, okay,
Just
yeah,
local
yeah.
friends. So I mean, sort of like you see your
Oh
university
right,
course
okay,
mates,
yeah.
and you see them go on and they have the job, they get promoted, they do all those different things, and they're working with brands that you want to work with.
Mm.
So they get that immediate reward quicker. But I think that if you look at the long run, they're going to plateau a lot quicker as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas even now, I just see myself as just starting to where I could possibly go to because, like, if you look at it, I'm 27 now. Like, if you look at it by the time I'm 40, you put 13 years of work into something, like, you're going to be, in a very good place.
Unless you're a parent, mate. When your kid's turn fucking 10, you're grey, you're balding, you're fucking stressed. Well, no, I do know what you mean. And it's a good mindset to have. It sounds like you were always sort of thinking ahead. Is that the way to describe it?
Yeah, look, as I say, I think I was very lucky in terms of the university I went to. So they had a quite
Which one did you go to?
Huddersfield.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a enterprise team, and what that was basically they had a section of the university where alumni and current students could go to. They get business support, they get business advice, they get business
That's
grants, funding, lawyers, everything.
Jesus.
And they sort of had that pathway,
Mm.
which I wouldn't have necessarily have thought about because it's obviously, all of university traditionally is geared around which sort of grad scheme can you get on, which job can you get on, and it's not necessarily the traditional route to go down because everyone goes, oh, you need a bit of experience. When in reality, I think something like marketing, I think it plays to young people's strengths a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So you set your proper business up at 21.
Yeah.
And what was that? Graphic design.
Yeah, so that was graphic design for sort of anyone and everyone. Obviously, I specialize in construction now, but that's just off experiences that I've had within that, within sort of the rest of my career. But yeah, that was just initially anyone and everyone, and then I did a bit of towards the end of that business. It was heavily in finance.
But truth be told, your passion wasn't always graphic design, was it?
No, it's sport. So
badminton, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about badminton.
So basically, I was very late to playing it. So in my household, we're a cricket household, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
Everyone on my dad's side of the family, both the men and women, have played at some level from county level down to the local leagues. So like my first outing when I was born was become a member of the local cricket club. That's just how it's always been. But I played for a season cricket, and I played every sport under the sun, so like football, running, athletics, all that sort of stuff. But it got to I was 15 and I went to an open day of a sports centre, and this old bloke was there, and he was sort of just running a taster session for it, and I had to go. And bear in mind that obviously I'd done once or twice in PE, I'd played. He was like, "Oh, I think you should. I coach Rochdale actually. I think you should come down." So he said, "We've got a session this weekend if you want to come." So I went down, and like basically, like the first hour, I can't remember the exact timings, but the first hour was the beginners, and then the second hour was the actual team who represented Rochdale. They played in like the Greater Manchester County League and everything like that. I went down for one session, and he's like, "Oh, you need to stay for the second hour," and it was literally it was the first time I played badminton for any real length. So yeah, within 6 months about 8 months of starting playing badminton, because the season was 8 months at the time. We won the Greater Manchester Under-16s League unbeaten in every match and game, and we're the only team to ever do that. And I did that within 8 months of playing badminton. So I was like, I'm onto something here because all the other lads from that team have been playing an awful lot longer, and they'd gone on to play for Lancashire and things like that, which was sort of the natural progression in badminton. But then when I went to university, that just went to a whole new level because obviously you get different cultures, you get sponsorships, you get training, you get to go in a lot of different types of tournaments, and we happened to have a very, very good team in a rubbish league. So it just so happened the year before they were going to close the badminton society at Huddersfield. So it meant that we had to start from the bottom. But in that team we had two lads who played for the equivalent of Chinese counties, and then the rest of the players bar me, basically, had all played county badminton at some level at that point. So I was playing with better and better people, and then we got the following year like a lad who played for India nationally and other sorts of stuff like that, which obviously for them it's like almost national sports. So the standard even of like the county players is well beyond our level of county players as well. So yeah, we played there. I got to captain the team after my first year at university, and then went on to I played at British Nationals twice as well, down at the English Institute of Sport. It how I always describe it. I mean, I know this is your swearing podcast, so I can say this.
This is your swearing podcast.
but basically, I always describe it as I am the shit of the good people, right? So I go.
Right, go on.
I can say that I've played at British Nationals and all this sort of stuff. However, in the first round, I played against Hong Kong's number 2 at the time, and we lost in the first round, which obviously you'd expect that. But then we lost, I think at the time, it was, I can't remember the exact score, I think it was like 21-10 and 21-12 to him, and it was doubles. And because of what I'm like, I sulked like mad. We were meant to go on a night out afterwards, and I sulked. I was in a horrific mood. I was like, I should have wiped the floor with this guy.
Was it like the time Liverpool beat United 7-1?
I don't remember that actually, but
it's somewhere.
Yeah, no, I just don't know what you're on about.
It didn't exist in my world that much.
Yeah,
go on, yeah.
But yeah, I always had this thing with badminton. I think it was obviously, if you look at it from a realistic level, like in badminton, there's only probably for males, there's probably less than 10 in the country go pro and become a full-time career as a badminton player.
What's the money like in badminton then?
So one of the big things that happened whilst I was at university is they cut the funding away from it.
All right.
So like a lot of sports, it's lottery funded, like a lot of the Olympians are. And they basically cut that away from badminton because they said they didn't have enough of a medal prospect. Which
it's an Olympic sport though, isn't it?
Yeah. But you have to have a medal prospect to be able to keep receiving the funding to the same level. And they cut that, which meant that because obviously the main base of badminton is over in Asia, it meant that people were having to travel to games, and without, like, if you didn't have sponsorship who'd be willing to pay for you to get there and things like that, or if you didn't win a tournament over in Asia, you'd lost money. So it wasn't necessarily as straightforward as that. I mean, I obviously I never got to that level where I was playing in Asia or anything like that, but like some of the lads I was training with, like I used to go to summer camps where we'd play for 5 days a week, and you'd go there at like 9 o'clock in the morning and finish at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
And badminton's not a slow sport either, is it?
It's, well, depending on who you ask, it's the fastest sport in the world.
But come on,
it's so if you put it in kilometers,
someone's going to listen to this and go, "You cheeky bastard!"
So if you put it in kilometers, right, the fastest smash. I don't know whether this is current, but when I was at university, the fastest smash used to be 495 kilometers an hour.
All right.
So,
all right. It's my words, I'm Ben. Fucking. You're right. This is a swearing podcast. Fucking hell. Fair enough. So was your dream to go in? Was this your dream?
I think quietly, I always thought I'd have some sort of career in sport, whether it was playing, being involved. I mean, something else to note is that you can do your coaching qualifications, and you can get like level 1, level 2, level 3.
Yeah.
For the level 1 one, I actually become like, at the time, I don't know whether this is official, but the people on the course I always used to say I was the youngest level 1 coach in the country at the time, because I did it something like 2 weeks after I think it was 16, when which was the minimum age you're allowed to do it at. So I was like, oh well, even if I don't play at that level, I can probably coach, or I can probably get a job in even like, like even punditry. I looked at like journalism, everything like that. Like
You took it serious. This was something you were really passionate about then.
Oh yeah, I thought about dropping out of graphic design at uni to do sports journalism. Yeah, because it was for me. I think I always wanted something in sport, and then I saw like how competitive it was. Not obviously on the court, but off the court to get into it in the back room sort of jobs, and that sort of put me off in a way because I remember looking at jobs when I left university, and there was one that was like it was for Crystal Palace, and they wanted it was something like it were either 6 or 8 years experience, and obviously England like Crystal Palace is based in London. For that amount of experience, they wanted a graphic designer on like 28 grand a year, and I was like, if that's like the progression route in football, I don't really think I want to go into it because they've got the thing of supply and demand. So there's always going to be someone who takes the dream of working with a football club. So they're never going to be short of suitors, are they? But then, like, they just take advantage of that because if you look at how much money's in football, they just sort of see it as a thing of, do you want experiences with a football club or do you want...
It's almost like they see it as bottom of the run.
Yeah.
Which is fucking pretty shitty, really.
It is.
Because if you go on all the social medias now of all these Premier League football clubs, people are drawn by the hooks and the designs and the illustrations.
Of course they. And it's the thing is as well is a lot of them, like I had a couple of interviews for some clubs, and the thing is they want unsociable hours. So if they want you on a game day because they want you to be able to react to stuff that goes on in the match, and they want sort of reactionary content, or if it's a transfer window, you might have to stay up till late at night or whatever. It's like it's a big sacrifice, and you have to absolutely love football, which obviously I do absolutely love football, but I also, at the end of the day,
like your social life.
Well, I like my social. I'm not too bothered about that though.
Well,
Like,
touch on that.
I think for me, I want progression, and I want things where I'm rewarded and valued for what I do, and I don't think necessarily that football does that.
So you dropped out of badminton. Did you when you finished badminton? Was it through injury or decision?
Bit of both. So I decided to when I left uni, I played like local leagues and stuff. But the issue with local leagues is when you hold yourself to a certain standard in your head, when you go and play with people who are rubbish and they have to cheat to win, there's a lot more cheating in local leagues than there is at higher level.
With badminton, you've got to hit a shuttlecock over the top of the thing, haven't you?
Yeah, but it's like in and out. They call stuff that's out that isn't out. All that sort of stuff. Like I used to, believe it or not, you probably won't believe this, but I actually have a very, very short temper when it comes to badminton.
I don't. Oh, right, badminton, yeah. Because I said to you before, you're that laid back, you could be in a coma. I've never met a man that's like, it's all right. Yeah. Whereas I'm like, you see me on the way here, I was stressing, and sweat was pissing out of me, and you're just like, you can have me chicken nuggets and see what cup I've got me McDonald's World Cup deal, yeah.
Honestly,
and you got Henri as well.
Yeah, I did get Henri, but yeah, I used to be really, really bad at like. I used to like when we got to the worst of the worst. I used to snap rackets in half when I was losing.
You rebel.
Yeah,
Ben McEnroe.
No. But when you're paying for your own racket, like I got one racket for free ever, and I still got that to this day.
Did break that one?
Yeah, no. But the other ones, like the badminton rackets on a high end, can cost like 200 and odd quid a go. So like, it's not an advisable thing to do.
No, really. Well, I remember playing golf once with my old man, and I I lost my shit, and I wrapped my 7-iron around a tree, and his mouth was like, he fucking, you little shit, and the ball, I wasn't even a bad shot, but Sean will back me up. I've got a really short fuse, but then I'm gonna be as nice as pie, but there's just takes certain things, like when you get your fucking coat caught in the door handle and you can't get it off.
Yeah.
That happens to me maybe once a day. And I sit in the car and think, why can't I just fucking do things normally? But there we go. So you badminton, did you feel, you said it was a bit of both.
Yeah, bit of both. So
you quit badminton and you got an injury as well, though, didn't you?
I've had a few. So literally when I was playing 6 times a week, I never got injured really, and then I slowed down and only started playing local leagues, and then I'm literally only just coming back from one now, so I don't know if to start playing again or not. But Yeah, in about the space of 18 months, I tore my right meniscus. I then come back and I tore my left ankle ligaments, and then I come back again and I tore ligaments in my left knee. So I'm literally like I'm on strength training for my legs at the moment because I'm trying to come back and do like some form of sport and play seriously because I find more enjoyment nowadays in playing like squash, football, bit of running sometimes because I have no expectation with those. Whereas when I play badminton, like because I've played at that level, you still hold yourself to that standard. And when you can't do things that you once thought you do, like if I turn around and try to do a backhand and then it doesn't go anywhere, you get fuming at that because you can't do it anymore.
Do you find that the level of detail you put into badminton complements? Because I've seen you work with graphic design. Do you feel that there's a pattern?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's OCD or there's something there which is telling you I have to do it a certain way?
Yeah. So if you look, I mean, there's a massive trend at the moment on LinkedIn, for example, of ex-sports stars. I'm not calling myself a sports star, by the way. But there's a lot of ex-sports people.
He wants his picture on this fucking
It'd be better than half the stuff around here, anyway.
I resent that.
But there's a lot of ex-sports people go on and do successful businesses, and it's because a lot of the values that you have to learn are the same, right? So
yeah, a lot I know called Phil Joseph, a very good friend of mine. He set up GLR Energy, and I feel because he was a professional rugby player, Phil's implemented a lot of what he's learned being regimented in rugby, in particular, into his business, and you can see the passion and the quality. Sorry, go on, yeah.
But yeah, it's the same thing though. Like obviously, when I was playing badminton, all you do when you train in badminton. Well, a lot of what you do is like technique based. So it's like you do the same shot like hundreds of times in a row, and that's all you do for like half an hour or whatever. And it's like that discipline of like trying to get that finer detail right. It's the repetition. It's the thing of I've got to turn up and train today, and then you don't really want to train all the time. And it's about there's also that element of like game day performance. So you think you're putting in all this work so that you can perform when it matters. And for in a business, that's you craft your offering, and then when you get given an opportunity, it might be like a big meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
That's your game day then. That's your opportunity to deliver, and someone gives you a chance, and then you're like, right, I need to push on and do that. So it's about being able to deliver under pressure, but then understanding why you're doing things and like having that discipline to keep doing it, and like it's also balancing failure as well, because obviously as much as I sit here and say, oh, I was pretty good at that, I also, as I mentioned before, I've lost some pretty big games as well. But it's the fact of like, what do you do the next game? Like, how do you recover? How do you go back the next game? And I mean, you'll know obviously the game of sales is like get rejected more than winning.
I've had more no's than I've had but I always find that the no's make me push harder.
Yeah.
Like we've had big clients leave us because they just can't afford it. Previously I took that to heart, whereas now I'm just like, okay, well that's part of business. But I think in any industry, any business, any sport, you have to get beaten a few times. I mean, Ronaldo always says, Cristiano Ronaldo, probably arguably the greatest footballer to ever live. He said I know there's people that go, it's Messi, and I'm not getting into that now. But he says that he's lost more finals than he's won.
Yeah.
Last night before the game kicked off, they were talking about him. Oh, he's this and he's that. He scored 2 goals, and then Roy Keane said, "Now look at him. He's the best thing since sliced bread." Because people only remember, or they want to talk about the times when you lost. No one wants to fucking. You want to talk about the moments where you excelled and above and beyond, but everyone else likes to talk about the shit times you had. And then people are normally the ones that haven't done it themselves.
Yeah, of course. I mean, football's rife with it, isn't it? It's football. You get players who perform at a good level, but as soon as they do one thing wrong, especially in the social media age, it's just they get slaughtered.
Yeah.
You look at people who perform consistently. I mean, I know you won't like this example, but like Bruno Fernandes performs consistently and has performed consistently since he's turned up at United, right?
I don't agree at all. From what I've seen, he's had his best season was last year. Otherwise, he would have won the award he's won every year. Whereas that man up there has performed consistently every year until he left.
Yeah, but he's
got the trophy cabinet to prove it.
Yeah, but he's going to end up in Saudi now because he's washed. But but anyway,
join us episode 2 in a minute. I'm fucking still about to knock that out. No, I do. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's consistency and there's one-offs.
Oh yeah, but like you've got to say, like, as much as soon as Salah does something bad, he's not had a standard of season up to his own level. He's probably still had a season that most footballers would dream of having, right? But because of that, as a rival fan, you best believe I've slaughtered Salah all season. Of course I have.
I think a lot of Liverpool fans did as well.
Yeah.
But does that come down? Okay, so if that's the case, then, because there was a time when United fans said all Fernandes did was lie on the floor and wave his arms around.
Yeah.
That was only last season. That was 2 seasons ago. Does that come down to the man management side of it? Because when let's say you take a team in badminton, someone makes you a captain, you feel like you have purpose, right?
Yeah.
When you're not captain, though, you're looking at the captain, and that captain is led by example by the person above them, right?
Yeah.
So, does a player get better by the way the manager controls their play, and does a business get better by the way the management controls a team? At the moment, you got no staff, right? I've had 20 staff.
Yeah.
When I'm in a bad mood, my staff, unfortunately for them, past and present, feel it.
Yeah, of course.
So is it a case of when the pressure's on any business or any sport, everyone feels it?
Yeah, I think so. So
I don't know, by the way, I'm asking you.
Yeah, so like...
You're the sports star.
Well,
next sports star. Well, yeah. I did play badminton.
Yeah. Played once or twice. When I was captain, I didn't take it as like... So you have different types of captains. So I feel like you have some who are more passive and they try and lead by example in the way in which they implement themselves. So I know that when I was in, for example, the university team I was in, I would argue that on paper I was the worst player there, right, out of those 6 starters, right?
Right.
But I knew that I worked harder than every single one of them. And the reason I worked harder than every single one of them, partly, was because we had one player in particular who was the guy who played for India nationally. And he relied very much on his talent, and it got him out of a lot of situations. And when you have talent, you can get very lazy, right? So I knew that if I set the example and I was like, right, okay, I've got to work harder than everyone else goes, well, he's working harder than us. We need to do that. I think it's a lot about setting standards.
And it's leadership as well, isn't it?
It is. I think you need to have different approaches with different people because, like, I know in a business context as well, the way you give feedback to people is completely different. So as much as everyone says, oh, you've got to treat everyone the same, you do to an extent. But, like, one person who you get on the back and you're like, oh, that ain't good enough, like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Another person might, curl up in a ball and be rubbish after that. Yeah. And they might not recover from that.
I'll be honest with you, I have been guilty of that. I've had to learn the hard way about man management because I'm only 6.5 years into this. So I'm like a child that's just gone to primary school. That's where I see myself in the business world. Is like I've gone through learning to walk to learning to talk, and now I'm past that, and now I'm in that primary school stage, right, where I'm now learning the basics of what I'm meant to be doing. And some people get it right first time, but even your Stephen Bartlett's and your Dominic McGregor's, they haven't got it right the first time, and that's what makes them so successful. And it's like badminton. You're not going to get it right every time. You're not going to win every final. You're not going to win every game. Ronaldo, Messi, Fernandes, Salah, they've never, ever won every single game. But what happens is they come back, they bounce back, and they come stronger. So if you with badminton, you leave it. Did you... Obviously, you said you still play a little bit now, not that level. What was that? Was it hard to accept and to say, I'm not going to get anywhere with this passion of mine?
Yeah, because... So, I think even though I'm obviously relatively young, I've gone through different stages of my life where I'm known for different things, right? So it becomes an identity thing. When you do something that many times, okay, if I'm playing badminton 6 times a week, you go to university, you become known as Ben from badminton, right?
Is that what your tattoo is on your back?
No, that's something else.
I did wonder what the registration was on your car. You're right. You are right. You get a reputation, don't you?
Yeah. So you become Ben from badminton. So like the small talk of people who know me on a very high level basis becomes, oh, you're still playing badminton? How's the badminton?
Yeah.
And that's like the thing that they go to. And then when you don't have that anymore, it becomes what's the next thing. So like for me then, when I left university, it become, oh, Ben has a business. Ben becomes a business owner. So like I become Ben the business owner for 3 years, who was also, I was also doing the public speaking stuff as well. So that, you get known for doing that as well.
Yeah. Well, we had a doctor on here, Dr. Tom. I don't know, Tom.
Yeah.
Similarly, everyone calls him the doctor of longevity. His name's Tom, so it's like, oh, are you still doing the longevity thing? Are you still being? So I can imagine it being the same thing for him. Mine's still, are you Mike the dickhead from Chester? That's all people have known me to ever be, and I own that. So
Yeah.
Well, no, I think it's admirable the fact you've been quite honest, because there's a lot of times when people do lose their ability to keep playing sports, and you seem to have. I like the way that you like you said at the start, everything happens for a reason. I like the way you've owned that, and you've said, do you know what, it's happened and I'm happy to it. And I think you set your standards so high, which is why your business has done so well, if I'm honest with you, so far. I want to touch on the Palace story. So you spent 3 weeks living out of a hotel in London, grinding for a break, and ended up interviewing inside Buckingham Palace for Prince Andrew. You still didn't get the job.
Yeah, so the hotel story is actually a different company in Leeds.
All right.
So it's not the same company. That was I worked in sports, doing sports websites and everything like that. So
okay.
I did sports teams at some websites for the best part of a month. But yeah, the Prince Andrew thing was...
Everyone is sat here now thinking, holy shit, he's been to Epstein Island.
No.
What was it like?
No, I signed an NDA.
No, nothing here, mate. In the done in now.
No, so basically, you know how there's the Duke of Edinburgh Award for like outdoor skills and everything like that?
Did you win it?
No.
Oh.
So Prince Andrew, should I say had? He had a award for IT skills.
Okay.
So it's technological skills, right?
Was it to hide emails?
So maybe chapter minors online. But anyway, we
that was my next question. That was my next question.
But anyway, we basically at the time, my university, you have a Chancellor Emeritus. So that is basically like a Chancellor of the university who's in the public eye.
Right.
And for the majority of my time at university, it was what's it called, Patrick Stewart, Captain Kirk, Star Trek.
From American Dad?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it's fantastic. I love how you reeled off like Star Trek, and I was like, American Dad.
Right, so yeah, he was the guy who would give you a degree at university.
Oh, Jesus.
However, they then changed it to Prince Andrew in my final year of university, right? And it meant that we had a link to his businesses. So I applied for this job, and he obviously had seen that I was for this university. I got I got through, so I had to have a load of checks. And basically, a lot of people don't know this, but in the side of Buckingham Palace, I don't know whether this is a security breach that I'm about to tell people, but there's offices in the side. You go through the side door, and there's offices and living quarters for some of the staff, right? So I had to go into these offices. So I walked up to the side door of Buckingham Palace, and obviously there's like 4 blokes with submachine guns staring at me, and I'm like, oh, I'm here for a job interview. And they're like, okay, what's your name? And then they have a list, and they'd obviously checked me for like about a month before. They checked all my background.
Sorry. I love how they checked you and not him.
Well,
just make sure he's not been to that island.
Once you're inside, you can do what you want. But anyway,
get me another beer.
I'm only on Diet Coke.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got inside, And then they escort you through to this reception area that's like this separate outbuilding. And once you get there, you put everything that you own into these lockers, right? Because you're not allowed anything that hasn't been security checked through
Right.
the next part. So it's a bit like a bank. You then get escorted through. So one door closes before you open the next door, and then you get escorted through all these things that they're a bit like mazes, really. It's a long, real, confusing, windy corridor. And funnily enough, the person who was showing me around is now my current flatmate, who actually works there for a year and lived in his living quarters for a year. So yeah, she did a placement year there. So, and I
have so many. I have so many questions. Oh my fucking god! I haven't got the time to fucking. I've the money. Finally done it, Sean. I've finally got the inside information we wanted.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There'll be someone out there have a gun when you're leaving.
I'm going to say, is this going online?
Fucking right.
But yeah, she basically took me to this interview room, and I got left in this there was basically a table and a chair, nothing else in there. And then two people eventually come into this room with me, give me a laptop, and then they asked me a few questions, and I said, right, you're going to do a design task. They went, you're going to design this flyer for us. We're going to go outside for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. We're going to come back and we want it done. And I was thinking, that ain't long enough to come up with anything. So anyway, they walk out, they leave me in this room. I believe my flatmate at the time was just stood next to the door, outside the door, just watching the door. And then I was just left in this room. So I had to do this design task under obviously it's under immense pressure because you're blooming sat in Buckingham Palace doing a blooming design for a poster.
What does it smell like in there?
I can't really remember. It's a bit.
I can imagine it. I can imagine it smelling musky, like a fucking. I mean, your grandparents' house on a Sunday used to have that weird fucking smell, like a Sunday dinner,
Well, as far as I remember, this room was it was a bit like a cricket club carpet. It's sort of that thin, little carpet, like a little felty sort of thing, and there was just a real basic table, a real basic chair, and yeah, I think it was just
keep things as minimal as possible.
Yeah, but
did you meet him?
No. I met two people who were
moving on. Then I can't be asked for this.
No, they were head of his social media. I mean, my flatmate has actually. She once a year, as part of working there, they had a big dinner with all of the staff of Buckingham Palace. So the Queen went, Prince Andrew went. Obviously,
so she met a lot.
Yeah, she didn't. I don't know if she directly spoke to them, but she has had dinner with them, so to speak. Yeah,
I'd be fucking cool. I would cause a ruckus. I would cause a ruckus, throwing fucking pigs in blankets at people and all sorts.
Not when you live there, you.
Well, you don't live with me. You don't know what I'm like at home. So you do this task. What did you do? What was the task? What was the task?
It was design a flyer for just a random event, and they come back after 15 minutes, and obviously it was only part done, so that is not enough time to design a flyer. So yeah, I didn't hear back from him, but obviously, I did hear back from him. I heard back from him to say I wasn't going to get it. But coincidentally, it was around the time where a lot of funding got cut from his charity for reasons unbeknown to me.
Yeah, I heard about that. God knows what happened there. Fucking watch the news. So when that happened, we're going to get done for this. This will be my last ever episode, guys. So that happens. You leave the palace. You'd been there for 3 weeks, living out of a hotel.
No. So as I say, that was a separate job.
Oh right, okay. Oh right, sorry, apologies.
For the palace, I literally just in and out for the interview. That was it. I stayed overnight.
So when you left the palace and you told you, what did you feel? Did you feel a bit of a failure? Did you feel like, fuck's sake, it's something else now? Like the first is the badminton, it's the business when I'm younger. Now it's the badminton, and now it's this. But you're like, what the fuck is going on?
I think for me, it was just it was really hard to get a first break in business, getting a job. Really.
That's what I mean. Did you feel like, when am I going to get the opportunity? Because I can imagine there's a wild moment there where you're thinking, maybe I can do this professionally with badminton. your brain must start when you're playing at levels. When you're Sunday league footballer, you think you're going to go further. When you were playing with some big, pretty good players, you must have thought inside yourself, I reckon I can take this all the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously that thing in the back of your mind. Otherwise, you won't keep going to tournaments. You won't keep entering stuff like. That's obviously why you do it at the end of the day, to see how far you can take it. Did I think there was people a lot better than me? Of course I was. Like those summer camps I mentioned before. At that time, there was a thing called the National Badminton League. It's only just come back this year. But at the time, that was on Sky Sports every Monday night. And those lads I was playing with were on Sky Sports every Monday night.
Yeah.
And like, there's obviously opportunities there, but I knew most of those guys either were on the Badminton England, like, well, I don't know what you call it, but basically it's the team where you're allowed to go full time with it. But some of them just had jobs. Yeah. And it's like, I knew the chances were thin, but obviously I wanted to try, give that a go. But as I said before, I think my main thing around that time, around the sort of time of that interview at Buckingham Palace, was it's the identity crisis sort of thing. So I went from, right, it's badminton Ben, to Ben's playing at local leagues, like, and I'm playing for rubbish teams who aren't winning.
You'd have been Buckingham Palace Ben.
Well, I could
BPB.
have been. Yeah. I don't know whether that's notoriety or not, but
I would have stood by it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But yeah, it was a tough time for me really, because I mean, it'll go on to something that I talk about later, but I think for me, I was living for still trying to be a student. So I was going out every weekend with my friends, and at that point, I'd got a buzz cut, I'd shaved all my hair off, because I was like, identity crisis sort of thing. And yeah, I didn't really know where.
A full on Britney Spears meltdown.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Good on you though, mate. She's come back with a bang.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with her.
Yeah, I mean, no, like, everyone tells me I've got lovely hair now, and like,
you have.
I don't think it would have grown back the same if I didn't go.
Well, everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. So even though I did that haircut about 2 weeks before going to the palace, right? I shaved all my hair off, and my mum went, "You go into the palace and you look like a thug." So I don't know whether that was a good thing or not.
Introducing to the palace, jarhead. So let's go move forward a bit. So COVID comes around, and you sort of accidentally fell into the business, didn't you? In COVID, so you didn't intend on taking getting the business serious, but you sort of fell into it, didn't you? What happened there?
So it obviously I'd had all these interviews, and it got to about obviously early around that year when COVID kicked in. I can't remember the exact year. Was it 2020?
I remember it. Yep, 2020. Yep. So I set my business up in January 2020.
Ah, right. So I was April 2020. So when it was all really kicking off.
Raw.
Yeah. And I sort of thought, right, I'm not going to get a job here, but I saw it as it's in a weird way. I saw it as an opportunity, right? So it led to more outsourcing, and I thought, right, if it leads to more outsourcing, I'm going to capitalize on that, and I'm going to give it a go as a stopgap. So I knew that obviously when you're 21, you don't know people, and it's very hard to get an opportunity to get people to start paying you money, especially enough money that you can make a living off it. And obviously, I had the safety net of I was living at home, and I didn't really have any outgoings and things like that. So it was a fairly safe decision and a fairly good sort of playground to be able to go and experiment with things. So I thought, right, I'll give this a go. So I knew the power of like networking and things, because I knew that, like, obviously I'm from Rochdale, so you don't find many like not successful people. That's probably the wrong word to say, but it's a heavily deprived area, and I always saw it as like big rich people all know each other already, and they've all got this network, and it's like old boys network sort of thing. So I knew that it's who you know, it's not what you know. And I thought, right, I'm going to sit on like calls. I'm going to take advantage of COVID. So I used to sit on calls for about 6 months, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, every single day, back to back calls. And all I'd do is be like, right, I'm going to have conversations with loads and loads of people today. Obviously, loads of them didn't lead to anything. I never spoke to some of those people after that. However, it mounts up. It's a snowball effect. So I knew that if I got all those calls in every single day, particularly due to my age and what I was doing, I was going to be more memorable. So I was like, I just need to get in front of enough people, be as memorable as possible, and I can build up this network. And then as I'm going into these calls throughout the 6 months, I'm gonna see, cross tangents of people where I can go, oh, I had a conversation with a guy like 2 months ago who'd be relevant for you. And I was like, if I can just try and like help out a load of people for no reason, surely that's going to lead to someone introducing me to the right person. And like every single call, I was like, oh, do you know anyone else who I could speak to, or anyone else who'd give me some advice and stuff? And that's just what I did for 6 months.
I think anyone listening to that will say that is an incredible way of starting a business. I mean, I wouldn't say I did something similar. I worked for free for 3 months for three of our clients. Two are still with us now. So the fact that you thought outside the box at that age, well, I mean, you say that with 21 now. A lot of business owners are starting, aren't they? 21, 20, 19.
Yeah.
You go on Dragon's Den now and, making edible socks and they're 18. People are funding it. But then something happened, didn't there? You got seriously ill.
Yeah, so
Or rather, the breaking point. There was a bit of a mix here, and I say the dark side of the hustle. You got ill, didn't you?
yeah, so after I did that business for 3 years, right? It wasn't like mega successful. It was enough that I could get by for 3 years, because you don't do something for 3 years if
No.
you're not making enough money to get by. But basically, there are a few things. I had a undiagnosed gluten intolerance, which took ages to work out because it was an intolerance rather than an allergy, and it meant that you could only do it by process of elimination of foods. And you were going for all these tests, but it doesn't really solve anything. So that I was ill for like sort of probably the best part of 3 months. So basically, I get to mid afternoon and then I'd be like keeling over in pain, and like my stomach would really hurt, and I wouldn't be able to do as much as I wanted to do, and I was like getting behind on stuff that I was doing. And at that point, it was difficult really, because at the start of that year, so I ended it in the April of that year. Well, at the start of that year, I'd started quoting for bigger stuff. That was like my real big break. I felt like I've been working for like 2 and a bit years, and I felt like now I was getting opportunities to like I was quoting for work that was worth like sort of thousands of pounds instead of hundreds of pounds. And yeah, it was difficult because like when you've got your own problems going on, you maybe don't chase the work as much as you should do, and then you don't finish off the work as often as you should, or as quickly as you should be doing. And it was very difficult, to be honest. Like there was that, and then that sort of triggered the fact that I then, like, even though you say I'm very chilled out, on the inside I'm naturally a massive like overthinker, worrier. I'm a very like very anxious person, so to speak.
Yeah.
And yeah, that shot my nervous system and made it a lot worse. So that developed like sort of the IBS side of things and everything like that, and that really didn't help with anything as well. So yeah, I was constantly like worrying about like things were dropping behind, and I was like, well, how do I get them back on track again? So that was partly why I ended up going back in house, was because I just wanted something where, this sounds sort of not derogatory about people who work in house, but I wanted something easy where I could sort of sit there and be like, I didn't have the stress of where's this paycheck coming from. I didn't have the stress of where am I finding work. I could go from 9 to 5 every day, and like I was comfortable. I knew what I had to do, and I knew that I was capable of doing it.
Look, I think when you say go back to in-house and it's easy, I've said this on a few different episodes. I sometimes say, I wish I could clock in at 9, have my sandwiches midday, fuck off at 5 and not have to worry.
Yeah.
The hustle or the busyness that comes with running a business of any size is incredibly hard. And not just that, when you're already dealing with an illness that's underlying, you don't really understand it. It's amplified, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to you, mate, again, for recognizing that. But I think it takes a brave person to go, I need to go back to some normality almost. Because if you're doing this on your own and you're not getting anywhere, you're not feeling good, then you're probably thinking, how much more can my body take of this? Because you're stressed with work and you're stressed with what's going on elsewhere, right?
Yeah, so I think the other thing is, for me, is you've got to bear in mind at this point, I'd never had a real job, so to speak. So I'd got to the age of 23, and I'd never actually worked for anyone more than in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
that's hard, isn't it, to go from working basically for yourself for 15, 8 years, then go into a job.
Yeah, so I mean, I mentioned to you before, like I've been on loads and loads of podcasts back in the day, back when I was like sort of 21, 22, 23, and there's certain podcasts, particularly one that I appeared on in America, where I've openly said I'll never work for anyone again. And then I obviously then went back in house after that, which, initially, this is what I mean by like a loss of identity. So I obviously went through the badminton thing where I was like, right, okay, I'm not badminton Ben. Now I'm just like another guy who's trying to get a job and trying to work for people. Like, I'm just everyone else now. And then I was like, right, I'm business Ben. And then I'm going into public speaking Ben. And everyone's like, oh, he's the young business owner. Like, that's his big thing.
It sounds like you've always been, it sounds to me like, I might be completely wrong. I don't know if anyone listening agrees. It sounds like you've always kind of compared yourself to being something other than just Ben.
Oh yeah, of course. Like for me,
you just, I think you're just Ben.
Yeah. Well,
and that's a brilliant thing to be.
Of course, I think I come to accept that over time. But like for me, it's because I fully I fully throw myself into things. So like with the badminton, it's not halves; it's 6 days a week. With the business, it's like, oh, we didn't just do it part time; we just went full time at 21. Like, and then obviously you become known for that. So then when I went back in house, I was a bit like, oh, is this it now? Like, is this just what I'm doing? And
have I sort of hit the ceiling?
Well, it's not just that, but it's like I realised how comfortable my life could be if I'd have stayed in house, and I in some elements of it, I really enjoyed that because I thought, I work hard during the day, and then my social life was better than ever when I first started. First started working for someone else again, and you obviously had the funds to then back it up, and it's really good. But after a while, that sort of it started to scare me a little bit because I'm like, I mean, it'll go into what you're saying later, but like, I feel like being average. Like, I nothing scares me more in life than being average, and like,
you don't want to be average, Ben, do you?
No, of course I don't. Like,
you fucking sports Ben, badminton Ben, business Ben. Imagine someone said, "Oh, you're just average Ben now."
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, it's like I just
you could have been Prince Ben.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to say that comment, but yeah. But I just think like just routine to an extent, but boring routine. It just like it scares me. Like I don't want to be in the same place all the time. I don't want to be doing the same thing all the time. Like that.
You sound like someone that likes to be busy.
Yeah, I my brain struggles with not being busy. Like I can't watch. All right, up until more recently, I can't watch films. I can't watch TV series. I can't do anything like that because I can't. Like,
you sound like my wife. Honestly, if we put a film on that's 2.5 hours long, it turns into a mini series. I am not fucking joking yet. We watch half an hour and it stops. We actually went on Channel 4 about this. Let me tell you this story quickly. So a couple of years ago, we were watching Yellowstone, and she kept falling asleep, and I see me arse in the end. I was like, I'm sick of it. So I watched a couple of episodes about her, and then watched them all the way back through again. And she was like, "Have you watched this?" I said, "Yeah," and she went fucking mad. But our PR company, Moda, who have also been on the show, they got us on Steph's Back Lunch, and we went on this segment called Walk the Plank. I bet basically, if they thought I was in the wrong, I walked the plank and jump into fucking Leeds dock. And if they thought Sean was wrong, she walked the plank and jumped into fucking... Well, she was wrong, because she'd done it that many times. So, anyway, go on, mate. What were you saying about focusing that?
Yeah. I just struggle. So, like, if people say, "Oh, I watch film," like I've watched films before. To like at university, I lived with like a big group of people. They'll be like, "Oh, let's go watch film," or "We'll have a film night," or "Go cinema," or whatever. I'll do it to appease other people, but like I would never, or hardly ever. I do occasionally now sit at home and go, right, I'm going to watch film because my brain goes insane, and I'm like, well, I could just do something else. Like I've not gained anything from this. The only thing that I ever find any sort of escape in is video games, and that's because I see something in terms of you're achieving something, you're working towards something, and there's something to everything in life. I feel like I try gamify it because that's how I work. I work towards like the next thing.
What's your favorite game?
Oof. So back in the day, I was just like a FIFA tryhard. Like I was really mad into FIFA. However, more recently, so I've been playing quite an old game now. Recently, I've been playing Far Cry 4.
Oh, okay.
But like my favorite two games of all time are Red Dead Redemption 2.
Amazing.
And GTA 5, which I'm super excited about.
I was about to say, you must be absolutely buzzing for GTA 6.
Yeah.
You're probably going to need to buy, like, I've been reading people saying that you're going to need to buy a separate PlayStation for it because of the size.
Yeah.
So, like, they know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, of course they do. I mean, I'm still an old gen and they're only releasing it on next gen, so I'm like, I am literally buying a new console specifically for that. Like,
well, I was saying to you before in the bar, obviously you guys can't see it over there, but we've got a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, a Nintendo Wii. You know, we've got a games console with like 100,000. I love retro gaming.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like, I sometimes throw myself into my PS5 and I'll start like The Witcher from scratch. Because it's an open world game, and some people listening have been, what the fuck are you talking about? But I like games where I always prefer when there's no level.
Yep.
And it's just a continuous fucking flying it. So obviously you got ill, you went back to work, went back to office, but then you completely stepped away from drinking at 25, didn't you?
Yeah.
And business, networking, football, sports, you're drenched in alcohol. How was that?
So I'd gone through phases of it before, so I was never really a big drinker, to be honest. So like at university, I did it again because I feel like, unfortunately, at university in particular, if you don't drink, you won't have much of a social life because that's what all of university life is based around. It's based around going out, particularly obviously with the sports teams. There's a lot of like bravado and everything like that involved in it. You go out every Wednesday, you dress up in fancy dress every Wednesday. So yeah, that's all. I did it through there. Around the COVID time when I started my first business, I didn't drink for a year, and then everything opened back up again, and I was like, right, I want to experience life a little bit, and I'll go out and do stuff. So I did drink for a good couple of years, and then it just got to about, as I say, about 25, because I've not drunk in just over a year and a half now, and I just thought I don't really like the environments that you go in to drink anyway. Like I become a day drinker, like not in a bad alcoholic way. I mean, in the sense of like,
I love what you're saying. I'm on my second beer.
But I just
10 to 4.
I just mean in the sense of like, I prefer going out in the day and then rather than going out at night. Cause
I'm the same. The nighttime scares me.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like, I moved into Manchester City Centre, and I'd go out at night, and I just thought like, because as I mentioned before, I'm quite an anxious person. I don't enjoy the environments that it puts you in. So like, when you're in a nightclub, there's thousands, well not thousands, hundreds of people, and I don't like that because, particularly, I've been out in some fairly rough areas in particular, but if it kicks off, I don't enjoy other people being drunk. I don't enjoy being around that. Some people are okay, but there's a lot of people who aren't.
Yeah, I completely agree. It scares me because like my wife will say to me, when you get drunk, you're the nicest person ever. Everyone becomes your friend. You just want to have fun, and I do. But there's always some arsehole that spoils it. There's always someone has to be Conor McGregor or the next, and it's the people that do it for no reason. They attract trouble. They invite it. They welcome it, and it's never their fault. And they're the ones who will throw the first punch and get away with it.
Yeah, of course they will. I mean, I've never gotten any fights on a night out, but I've obviously seen hundreds and hundreds of them. I mean, the nightclub we used to go to at Huddersfield, actually, it got closed down for too many stabbings in the actual nightclub. So that's about as bad as you can get. But
a little tally chart on the wall. What? No one there. I shouldn't say that, as I know some people listening are affected by knife crime.
But it's I just, the key thing is, right. So as I say, I live in Manchester. Around the corner, sometimes on a weekend, because I don't have like the biggest social life in the world. Obviously, running my own business at this age. Sometimes I just go walk around the city centre because it's something to do, and I enjoy like a little walk, and I enjoy the busyness of the city. I enjoy like people watching, observing, like all that sort of stuff. If you do that on a Saturday, no matter what time, whether you go from lunchtime through to an evening walk, there's always people. So there's a street called Deansgate, which is basically it's like a massive long strip of bars,
Yeah, yeah.
and I live like 2 minutes from there. Right,
Mm.
if I walk down there, you see people who are like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're like on the floor, like people are having to carry them up and stuff. And I think I come up with a thing the other day that I was saying to someone, and I basically said I see a load of, particularly the bravado in males on nights out. I think a lot of people want to be like the hero on a night out. They want to
Yeah,
be the big man on the
yeah,
night
I
out.
agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
But if you're the big man on a Saturday night, when it gets to a Monday morning, you probably go back to being the loser again. And
Mm.
that's the thing in my head is like a lot of people use it as an escape route.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like if I see someone like, as I mentioned before, when I first left university, I was living for going out with my mates on weekends.
yeah, yeah,
Because I didn't have a job, I was going out on Wednesday on student night still when I
yeah,
left university. And you're thinking that's just because you're trying to avoid the fact that you're not got a job and you're not
yeah.
feeling great about it. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of people don't like the jobs, they don't like what they do, and then the majority of the week they don't particularly like it. So then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just think, right, I'm going to go out on a weekend, I'm going to get plastered every
It's like an
weekend.
escape, innit?
Yeah, of
But the
course it
but the
is.
problem is, look, I'm a lot older than you, as you can tell. But I've been guilty of it. You know, even now, like I come home from work on a Thursday or a Friday, and if I've had not every week's good. Like this has been a really good week. 2 weeks ago was one of the worst weeks I've ever had. I had a few glasses of wine. I wouldn't go out.
Yeah.
Well, I'd stay at home and do it. But it's an escape, isn't it? Some people are stuck in the rat race. And Marcus, that was on here, I don't know if you listened to his podcast. No, it was a fantastic podcast. You know, what he's been through, how he's recovered, and we're doing a bit of work together now. And he was a prime example of saying, if it was a good week, I'd do it. If it was a bad week, I'd do it.
Yeah.
Because once you're stuck in that rut, it takes something quite big to get you out, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And I mean, obviously, the thing is right, with my age group in particular, people in the 20s, every single social event revolves around drinking, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, oh, let's go out and, I don't know, go for a walk. It might be. Some people do. But a lot of people, it's like, oh, are you coming out Saturday night? Are you doing this? Are you
Yeah,
coming for these drinks?
yeah.
Everyone's birthday is going for drinks, or it's a
Yeah.
pub crawl, or it's something like that.
How does that make you feel though, if you're stuck in that? 'Cause you, like I said before, you're so chilled. You're sat in basically what is a pub now. You're absolutely fine.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you're in that environment?
Um, I think the key thing is knowing when you need to leave. I think the other thing as well is you surround yourself with people who you know are okay when they've had a drink.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, I have people who are friends who, I mean, they might say this, but I'm not going to name any names, so that'll help. But I have some friends who I prefer when they're drunk to others, and it's because you know what lads are like. They've had a drink, and then some of them will be like more boisterous. They might be like making a bit of a scene. You might have to look after them. They could be like
Yeah,
starting fights with people, and I'm like, that's not. As a sober one, you end up mopping up after that.
yeah. But sometimes it's even the drunk ones that end up mopping up because they don't want to know. Like I'm one of them. If I went to a bar with someone who I'm with and they purposely start a fight, then we're done.
Yeah,
Because I do not want to be around. I've got 2 children that need me. No matter how drunk I get, no matter where I am, they come first. And if someone's going to jeopardize that, then that's on them. And of course, I don't want to see people getting hurt. No one wants to see anybody getting hurt. But I also think if you're not adult enough to control yourself on a night out, then you're not my problem.
yeah. I think one of the things is like when I go to, I mean, it's a massive issue within business as well. Like,
Yeah.
so like every single like evening networking event, in my opinion, many of them are an excuse for. This is going to upset a few people. It's an excuse for a lot of middle-aged BDMs to replace their social life. And
it's going to upset people, but as a previous BDM, I agree.
Yeah, so the thing is right, you go to these events, most of the people in the room already know each other, and then all that happens is they have loads of drinks, and like, is business done in that way? No, it's not. So like, I think that I've learned when I go to those events, I will go to one if someone invites me, but I'll probably leave at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, because once you get past that point, nothing good happens. I know everyone goes, oh well, it's like, for example, UK Reef, which happened recently. All the stories I hear about that is, oh, everyone has to go to UK Reef. It's a massive event. It's the biggest event.
Yeah.
However, the stories that everyone tell me from it are like, oh, we stayed out till 4 a.m. We stayed out to do this. And I'm like, okay, cool, but
what's the benefit?
Well, what's the benefit? But also, like, not to be horrible. Like, obviously, I have met people who I've become friends with through business.
Yeah.
However, when I go to a networking event, I'm not purely there to make friends. Like, I'm not there because I haven't got any plans tonight. I just want to go out and just have a few drinks.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I don't see it in that way, and I think a lot of business events are now tailored around, like, for example, loads of business events. I don't get the return on investment ticket wise, because they usually come and they go, oh, you get like a load of free drinks when you first turn up, and I'm like,
so I drink.
I'm having a Coca-Cola that probably costs like £2, and you've just charged me £30 for a free drink. Like, what's the point in that? Like,
yeah, I get it. I completely get it. Something that really interests me was I think it's a broken hiring process. And tell me if I'm wrong. Is it true you walked into a corporate role to build a marketing team entirely off a recommendation with no CV?
Yeah. So basically, yeah.
No formal interview, nothing. So, in my eyes, is the traditional way of hiring broken?
Yeah. So I mean, that example there that you gave, basically, when I said that I spent 6 months building a network, so I know a lot of people don't like BNI, right? However, when I was 6 months into my business, I got I believe Manchester's only membership grant for a year to be able to go into BNI based on my business plan. And at that age, what I will say about that, as much as everyone slags, those sort of networking
What, the
groups,
BNI? No, I think BNI is good.
a lot of people have very mixed opinions on them, but what I think is that it teaches you the fundamentals of networking. It teaches you how to network, and it teaches you what you're there to achieve, which I now still implement to this day. And in BNI, I met a guy called Steve Watson, who's a business coach, and I left BNI, so I was really heavily involved. I was running chapters and all that sort of stuff. I was on leadership teams. I left my chapter, and an hour after the call, because I was obviously closing my business down, Steve rung me and he went, oh, one of my clients, who he's a business coach for, he said, they're an architect and they're paying someone X amount per month as a marketing agency. They want to bring it in-house. And he went, they want you to be the first hire to go and do that. So literally, I hadn't even finished my business. I'd only just left the last networking event. It was literally within an hour of the last networking event. And I got this conversation out of nothing. And like, all I literally did was I went in, they didn't ask for a portfolio, they didn't ask to see anything. They just went, like, showed me what they did, and it was almost like they were pitching to me. It was a weird power dynamic. And then they were just like, oh, what sort of money do you want? Told them. They went, oh, do you want to start on Monday? Yeah, sure, crack on. And that was it. Like, I think the thing now is, particularly with hiring, is that I've worked with obviously a lot of businesses throughout my career, and what I'm seeing more and more often is people bringing people in who they already know through other, other avenues. Like you mentioned before, you've worked with some of the guys who you actually employ currently, previously.
Yeah. Mike trained me up 20 years ago in sales. Steve was my old team manager. These guys have kind of engineered and guided me to where I am now. So you go back to your point. everything happens for a reason.
Of course it does, and I think the thing is, right, is if you look at this way of hiring now, a lot of it's online. You can post something. I know I used to head up sort of the hiring adverts when I was at the Architects, right? And we'd post something on LinkedIn or we'd post something on a job platform. You get a lot of applications, and a lot of them are useless, right?
Yeah, we've done it. We've put a fucking job spec up the other day for a client account manager. We were getting applications from India, which I've got no problem with. And we said UK only, India, and it was like, fuck. I said, just take it down. It takes so much time to scroll through CVs, and we've got a recruitment division of our business. Fuck me, you think, well, you're not reading the job spec properly.
Yeah, but I think the thing is people are getting a bit fed up with that. So, like, you know, everyone's saying, oh, unemployment's at high and everything, but, like, people come to me all the time and they're like, oh, what advice would you give for getting a job? And for one, I always say, I don't know, because I've never actually got a job properly. The reason I set up 2 businesses is because I couldn't get one. But then
you're asking the wrong person. Mike, can you give this guy a hand?
But then I then sit there and I'm like, well, the other thing is, I said, what are you actually applying for? And they're like, oh, I'm scrolling through the job websites all the time. And I went, well, number one, I said, have you thought of maybe turning up to a networking event? Because every single person there is going to be either a business owner or a decent level in a business where they can have some form of influence.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I said is, have you tried actually approaching people who aren't actively putting out there for hiring? Because it's like I was mentioning before with marketing, right? You need to find the path of least resistance, right? And if you're applying for a job where they've got 500 applicants and let's say 90% of those are absolutely useless, they're probably not really going to be paying full attention by the time they get to yours. So you might as well just try different ways of getting out to people.
I'm in total agreement with you. When I lived in New Zealand, I didn't know where to start, and I just put my fucking CV in every shop window going, old school. We've got a rule. If someone's worked at McDonald's, we get them straight in for an interview. I'm not interested in anything else. I don't care where they've worked. I certainly don't care about qualifications because I haven't got a single one. I think my GCSE spelled help. They'll fudge, to be honest with you. But people from McDonald's, they read their uniforms. They're fast thinkers. They're used to dealing with the general public, the worst. And they hold themselves in a certain way because everything's been done. Everything is done in a way. So you get someone from McDonald's into your business. And we've employed a couple of people from there. Okay, they're not with us now, but they were fantastic. They came in. They always dressed as smartest. They were the ones that got in on time and got the work done. So I think sometimes we focus too much on someone's experience when I always think that, you can train ability, but you can train someone up, but it's more about someone's enthusiasm, someone's willingness to learn.
Yeah.
And you've obviously, you're a fucking strong-minded person, mate. You have been through in your own right a lot, and you've kept going. And that kind of, I've got a bit here about when you told me about like a myth of security with you spent 3 years in a stable in-house job. Suddenly your hours get cut. This is what I mean, because I went on my LinkedIn the other day. Redundancy was the most used word in all of my connections, or 42%. Right. So, in some ways, is stable employment actually riskier than running your own business? Because in employment, you've got a single point of failure, one boss, one company. But in business, you control all them different levers.
I think the key differences, right, is you understand the pipeline, you understand when things are coming when you're in your own business. I think, like, for example, when I got my hours cut, I still speak very highly about that company because they gave me an opportunity when I was at a really low point in my life.
Yeah.
However, I didn't expect that to happen when it did. And when you own your own business, you know what work's coming in. You know if it's going slow. You understand, because you don't just, okay, there is the odd occasion where people say you close a business overnight. However, you tend to know what's coming in. It's a slow process to close a business. Like, it's not like one one day I just give up and that's it. It's we've not got enough work. Let's try grind it out a bit, and then it sort of happens. So I think notice is one element of it, but the thing that I find really interesting about working for myself is like, because people comment all the time, like my flatmate comments, I might be working on the kitchen table until like, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And like people always comment on, you work weekends, you work really long hours. But for me, like I mentioned before, like I see it all as like a big game. So I understand the reward, and like for me as a business owner, you get a high level of reward. You get the immediate reward. It's like if I put it back to a video game sense, right? It's like in GTA, you find a massive lump sum of money on the side of the road. You always take it back to the NPC, and he'll be like, "Oh, you've just given me 10 grand. Here's £100." And it's like that is like what being an employee is. Whereas when you're the business owner, it's like, okay, I've just found the 10 grand on the side of the road. 10 grand goes in my business, and then we go, and obviously you don't pocket that. That's another massive misconception that people have about business
everyone thinks when you're a business owner, you're a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
And they think that you've got money coming out your ears, and they don't realise the stress. You paid last year, you paid the least, you very rarely have a good night's kit because you're worrying about where you're going to cover everything else. There's a massive misconception. Talking about GTA 5, I actually met the bloke that plays Trevor.
Right.
Stephen Quick. I met him in London.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's just the way he is in the game as well. Yeah. He's doing brilliant Walking Dead as well. So you've gone through all this, and you've been through a fair bit, but then you set up Sublevo.
Yeah.
I got it right. And that's Latin, right?
Yeah.
For
uplift.
I was going to say rise. I'm getting there. You've launched this company, but this time you've launched it on purpose, not by accident. So what's the biggest boundary or rule you're going to enforce on your business today that the 15-year-old didn't do, or the COVID era version of you would have broken?
I think the biggest thing is not working with everyone.
Yeah.
I have, in particular when I was 21, like people know when you're 21 that you probably, you're just starting out. You need the work. And people take advantage of that. I got burnt incredibly badly by a couple of people back when I was 21. And, I look back now and, like, it's ridiculous. Like, one guy, for example, if I raised my prices, this was a very long time ago. This is not a reflection of my prices now, by the way.
If it was, it's your price is your price there.
No. But this was, if I went over £100 to do anything, they would kick off and say they were never going to work with me again because I charged too much and someone else could do it for cheaper. And the thing is, right, is I look back now, and if someone would have said that to me, like, obviously I don't charge £100 now. I charge quite a lot more than that. But,
I hope so.
Yeah.
I've seen your work.
Yeah. But the thing is right now, I would just be like, right, crack on, go get the other person.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, I was very much like, oh no, please give me a chance. Like,
we had it, mate. We had it. A company met us recently. We'd worked with them in the past. They'd been notoriously bad payers. And I met with my principal because the person that was now heading the show, actually, if it hadn't been for that person, I probably wouldn't be sat across from you now because she really believed in me, right? So I met out a principal in respect. Told them how we work, told them ourselves, told them the money, and she just went, I don't think they're going to go off. I said, that's fine. I said, we don't work together. She was like, oh. I was like, I said, I've worked with hundreds of thousands of businesses. I said, in the top 5, there's top 5 payers, non-payers. I said, you're in the top 3 of them. I said, I'm here from respect. I'm here because I said, that is the setup, that is the cost, and it's not going to change. And she was ultimately respected that decision more than just going, oh, okay, don't worry about it, we'll do it your way. You can't work with everyone. I always think that I always look at a business and think, do they have the same values as us? Do they hold themselves in the same decorum?
Yeah.
Would they cause us problems? All these questions come from experience, right?
Yeah, of course they do.
And that's why when you say you wouldn't work with everyone, we're the same. Oh my God, you've worked with this company. We work at the Department of Education. Fuck me, mate. Oh, Department of Education, I've never ever experienced a rigmarole like it. Late paying, didn't process the invoice. It was just a non-stop, continuous stream of bullshit. So, all right. So look, gone over a lot. Been a brilliant, brilliant episode. So I've got a question for you. This is from me. Everything. So you said everything happens for a reason. I believe it does.
Yep.
Looking back at the Buckingham Palace rejection, the sports ceiling, the illness, the corporate hours cut, how did every single one of those losses directly build the guy that's sitting across from me today?
I think the badminton element of things is it actually probably gave me the time to focus on my first business a lot more.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way. The Buckingham Palace thing, obviously, I would have been in a job and I wouldn't have started what I was doing.
Yeah.
The illness side of things, I think I gained a lot from going in house. As much as I earlier, made the thing that it was an easy ride.
Yeah.
It's you learn a lot from operating from a business that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
Those guys they had an awful lot of trust in me, and they got me involved at a very high level within a business, which it was a multi-million-pound business. And for the age of 23 to get that exposure and get that experience, and I actually even set up within 6 months of working for them, I set up an actual separate partnership business for them.
Right.
Pretty much me and one other guy on our own. So to get given that level of trust, I think for me, after a really tough time, it really helped me regain my confidence in my own ability.
Yeah.
Because I was doing it not just when I was working before, I was doing it with smaller companies.
Yeah.
And then to go into a company of that size and see everyone sort of within that industry talking about oh, we've seen the impact that you've had on that business.
Yeah.
I obviously I touched on before. I've done speaking stuff. I never thought I'd get the opportunity to do it when I was in house.
Yeah.
However, Manchester Society of Architects actually reached out to me based on the fact that they had seen the growth of that company under my marketing, and asked me to go and speak for them. Now they are the largest society of architects in the world, or so they claim, and they had me go and speaking to lots of different architectural practices, and the people who were alongside me in those talks were people at companies like AHR, like BDP, these are companies which have hundreds of staff, tens of millions of pounds, if not hundreds of millions of pounds of turnover, and their heads of marketing are sat next to me doing a talk. For me, that's it helped me regain my own confidence, so much so that after 3 years I was ticking away, and I was like, how do I then, what's the next step? What do I do now? And the cutting in of hours was actually a blessing in disguise, because it gave me a platform that I wouldn't have had otherwise, because most people don't have the opportunity to be lucky enough to stage a comeback to a business. So I obviously, the role that I had for them paid for my outgoings, and it made sure that I could survive every month. And that put me in a really good situation, because everything I made off my business while I was doing it part-time, I took nothing out. I put it all back into the business. So I was just constantly being able to then grow the business and grow the cash within the business, which came as quite a shock actually when I went full time, because I was then hang on a minute, I've got to take money out of it now. I've got to pay myself, and then you go, oh.
It sounds like you did it in the right way, though.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to do it in a very sensible way, because I think what my big thing is this is a whole different, deeper topic, but people's approach to money is based on their upbringing. Their upbringing shapes their psychological output or outlook on money. So obviously for me, as I say, I grew up in Rochdale. We grew up below the breadline. Money has always been one of those things where, don't get me wrong, I was obviously an only child, so I was spoiled, but I wasn't spoiled to the level, within the means of what we had. But
you were well looked after. Look, mate, there's two ways of looking at it. You could say you were spoiled, but you could say you were loved.
Yeah,
I had 4 brothers, mate. I was the eldest of 5, and people will probably look at me and say, God, you were spoiled. We had nothing, but my mum and dad made it work for them. So fuck what people think.
Of course, yeah, that's exactly the same. But like, because of that, though, like, we sort of saved, and we sort of made work what you have. Like, it isn't like some people get it where, oh, I want this, like, you get it. Like, for me, it was like birthdays, Christmases, and they'd save a long time for those sorts of things. So when you then come into a business, obviously, even when I first got paid when I went in house, you start seeing levels of money that like isn't normal where you come from, and like that can be a bit of a psychological thing. So I've seen it with business owners of any age where they maybe win a bigger contract or they start getting lump sums of money at once, and they then go down the route of, oh, I've got all this money, like let's go and spend it. But like the way I've always been brought up is like, you don't spend money like unless you absolutely have to. Like unless my clothes, like my flatmate always jokes, I've worn like some of the clothes I've had since I was in sixth form, right? And that the reason for that is because I've always been brought up, unless it's like got holes in it, unless it's falling apart, you don't need a new one.
Yeah.
So like I've always, it's been a learning curve for me in business because I've always been scared to spend money, right? So now, like when it's like, oh, you need to invest in this or you need to do that to grow the business. I previously, when I was like 21, I shied away from doing that massively and I never put the money back into the business. Yeah. But equally, I didn't take it out. I just left it sat there in a lump sum and I was like, as long as we've got money, we're okay. But you don't.
You got speculation with you like that. Yeah. We have this conversation all the time with people looking to do lead generation. Oh, I've got no budget. And I would say, well, if money wasn't an issue, would you do it? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so if you've got no money to spend, but you need to make more money, what is the outcome?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's a very British thing. And I think something that I used to be good friends with a sales trainer, and he actually taught me. He was like, people who have money grow up around other people talking about money. They openly talk about it because it's not a resource that's it's not a touchy subject.
They don't know what the
yeah. Whereas people who are poorer, usually like if you're poor, your parents might hide things away from you, and they might just they don't tell you how bad and extensive a situation is. So people then are almost scared to talk about money. Like it's like if you go in a shop and it might be like, oh, you go and you look at a price tag like sneakily so that no one knows that you're like putting it back if it's like too much or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all that has like psychological effects on you. So like when you go into business, I know when I first gone into business, like you are scared to like put numbers out on the table.
Yeah.
Like in my first business, this was towards the end of it, I was like 22, 23. And I got one of my first bigger clients who I still work with him to this day. We just started a new project. And I remember at the time, I quoted him something which it was a few £1,000s. It weren't like anything massive. But I lived at home at the time. I remember going down telling my mum, and she freaked out that I just charged someone a few £1,000s to do something. But she looks at it from the perspective of like, she's worked in the same place since she left school, right? So
okay.
She did 40 years of service a couple of years ago. So she looks at it from the perspective of, if she was paying me, I can't remember the exact sum, let's say like £3,000. If she was paying me £3,000, that's more than she earns a month. And like she's panicking from that perspective. But when I sort of sit down and I go, from a business perspective, that's like a drop in the ocean for some businesses. Like that's nothing. Yeah. And it's getting your head around that because, everyone has imposter syndrome. But then when you get to the thing of, oh, well, I'm now trying to charge people figures that feel uncomfortable to me, that's it's a very difficult thing to get around.
What would you say? Feel free to say if you don't want to answer this. I ask everyone this question. What's been the hardest moment so far of your life or your career?
I'd probably say closing that first business.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, I think I used to, obviously I was very big into my networking and I used to do all that sort of stuff. And I very much felt like when I then started going to events, because part of my role at the Architects was BD, I felt a bit like people would look at me differently because they were like, "Oh, that kid tried something and he failed something," and like the reality was is that obviously there were a few people who like sort of turned the nose up at it or whatever, but like the majority of people were like, "Oh, fair play, you're still young, like you tried something out, like you did something different to like everyone else is doing." Because no one, like realistically, no one does it on the first time.
No, I didn't. I openly admit it now. Our business failed, and that's because I wasn't doing it right. Listen, no one judges you more than someone who's never tried it themselves. The shit we got online, mate, the shit we went through. We had people dealing drugs, and somehow we were the problem. They were doing it in the office. We had posts going out about us online. We had someone stealing stuff from us when he left. At the end of the day, mate, none of these. I seen a quote the other day. I don't admire anyone's life that I don't speak to. I don't admire anyone's life. But yeah, closing businesses is hard. But you come through it.
Yeah, of course I did. I think, as I say, that's why, as much as, I jokingly said before, well, it's true. I put out on several podcasts that I would never work for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret the fact that I did, because I think that the confidence that it gave me in my own ability and regaining that belief was like...
It was meant to be.
Yeah, it's really important for getting me to come back to where I am now.
I think you've done incredible. I think I've known you for 6 months. I met you once before this, but we speak quite a bit on the phone. And you quite openly admitted to me you're more of an introvert. But as I've got to know you, you've come out your shell, and I think you offer something to this industry that we both work in that a lot of people don't have. And I think your approach is you're so young, but you've got such a old head on your shoulders, and that's a testament to you, by the way. But look, so we always ask the previous guest to ask us questions to the next one. Marcus's question to you is, why should your story be told?
Because I think the reason the reason I actually got into public speaking originally was because I want young people to know that there's not one career path that you've got to take. So people always think, oh, you set up a business, you've got to get all this experience, you've got to do all this stuff. Like, the reality is like, you create your own experience. Like, I learn a lot quicker after going into companies, and when I was 21, I'll admit now that like I took on jobs which I probably shouldn't have took on, and I made mistakes, and I maybe under-delivered back then. Like, some of those things that I did, I didn't always do to the level maybe they wanted it to be. But I think that's part and parcel of it. I think any business owner, it takes a while to get things right, and I think it's like I said before, you've got to fail fast and move on from it. And it's like,
fail fast, fail hard, fail over and over. I prefer to fail and get it right sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, with this, so people might look at the podcast and go, "Oh my god, it's filmed on his phone. It's in his shed /bar. It's a bar, not a shed. It's not Diary of a CEO. It's not this beauty podcast." And I'm sat there going, I wouldn't give a shit. I'm doing everything I wanted to do, but the first one I did with Sarah, it's absolutely shite. But it's fine because I learned from it.
Yeah.
People still viewed it. It's still our most downloaded podcast. So, yeah, I agree. Fail often, fail fast. And I agree your story does deserve to be told.
Yeah, I think it's look, I think, as I mentioned before, all the talks I used to do, I'm more particular in the talks that I do now in terms of I try and do them to try and grow the business. Yeah. So I try and do them to the right audiences. But all the talks I did back then, which is something I'm still passionate about, but it's obviously I don't let it overtake the day job, if you will, was when I was like 21 through to 23, I was speaking to people in colleges, universities, people in their early careers. And I was basically just doing all these talks on all these different platforms. And I was sort of saying to them, like, look, I'm doing it. And I said, I viewed some of their portfolios and stuff. And I'll be honest with you, some of them are better than me, like, design-wise. They just don't have the ability to back themselves. Like, and I was saying this to someone the other day, right? So there is much better graphic designers out there than me. But there's people I know off my like uni course and things like that. They've tried to do freelance. They've tried to run their own business, and they failed. And the reason is is because running a business is way more than being good at the skill that you're actually selling.
100%. I love that.
And it's like, if you ask me to just do graphic design, if all I had to do was sell graphic design, all right, I'd do okay at it, but would I grow to the level of, would I surpass some of the people who I've surpassed? Absolutely not. But because I have all these different like tangents and things that I've either been through, or I have all these different traits that supplement what makes a decent business owner, I'd probably go a lot further than a lot of designers who are awful lot better than me.
So obviously we always give the current guest the opportunity to ask the next guest. Our next guest is Michael Robinson. He is a professional bodybuilder. I played football with him when we were younger. He was always athletic, but he's done. I was going to say he's a tank, but he's also one of the nicest guys you ever wish to meet. And I'm really looking forward to getting him on the show because I haven't seen him for a long time. But his transformation has been amazing, and he helps people as well. What questions do you have for him?
So I think one thing that I would like to ask, I'm just trying to think of how to articulate it, is around how do you think health benefits other areas of your life beyond physical fitness? Because, I mentioned before about, being ill and things like that. And that made me realize that, if you're not fully, firing yourself, you've not got, it affects so many different areas of your life. And it'd be interesting to know, like, what he feels being someone in that space is the wider benefits of keeping healthy and maintaining yourself.
No, that's fine. We can ask him. And he's a fountain of knowledge. We've had PTs on here. We've had the Doctor of Longevity, Tom. We've got Katie coming on in a few weeks' time. She's fantastic. She focuses on helping people with burnout and stuff. So that'll be they're really interesting. Every conversation we're trying to have is different, and that's the most important thing. And it's been good having you on. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. And you know what? I end this, and I said at the start we were going to put it to test. I do believe everything happens for a reason, and I think you're living proof that perseverance is key, not just to being a business owner, but to everything we're trying to do, isn't it? And well done to you, mate. You say it again. How do I say it?
Sablevo.
So the website is www.sablevo.com.
SablevoCreative.co.uk.
Oh, he's changed it.
.co.uk. I do own the .com one as well, though, so the redirect.
Anyway. You're fine. So when are you next at the Palace?
He's
did you should have done a flyer for like a anti-sweat vest or something like that? Your housemate's gonna fucking hate me because I'm gonna go to town on this.
Oh, I mean, she'll probably watch it.
Tell her to come on. I've got questions. What's her name?
Am I allowed to say that? It's Katie.
Katie, come and have a seat, love. I'm pretty sure everyone watching's got questions. I'm only messing, love. Right. So, Ben, thank you very much for joining us today. This has been fantastic. It's our second one today, isn't it?
Yeah.
We did our first one, Construct the Cast, this morning, which is completely different to this. And now we've done Business Life and Other Bollocks. So, yeah, thank you, mate. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having me. I'm not sweating as much on this one.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? We did it in a boardroom earlier, and fuck me, it was that. So, everyone, that concludes another fantastic episode. Well, I think it's fantastic. Anyway, of Business, Life, and Other Bollocks. Ben has been fantastic. And I think everything he said, if you're listening to this and you've had moments of doubt, failure, setbacks, illness, keep going, right? When I watch my children learn to walk, they don't just fall over the first time and go, oh, well, fuck it, I may as well stop. They keep going. Perseverance pays off. Believe in yourself, all right, and don't give up. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye.